Yanji Jimbo to Danying Meja, Sonny Molam Jimbo Ngabjada, Pankardanga Zandu Hirmado, Tumba Tukji Janla Kivsham Sar, Shome Chuje Anji Popdana, Tisum Sanji Genji Ngo, Ransom Jurga Ngosum Donza, Zavela Manam Language Sar, Dason Royal Lorna Chula Jir. Good morning. First of all, welcome to all of you, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you some of my practice experiences and to be with all of you. So I would like to give you some important instructions to help your daily meditation or whatever you do, so it will be beneficial for everybody, include yourself. I always think that we are very fortunate. We have these good opportunities. We have great situations so that we can practice Buddha Dharma. And I also think that Buddhist communities or groups of people who are practicing together are especially fortunate and have a precious sort of opportunity. Because if everyone has different viewpoints or different paths, different ideas, then conflicts will be inevitable. Therefore, I think sharing the same goals and ideas is important, and practice together as a practice group. But I'm not so sure what is your main sort of daily practice or what kind of teachings you are looking for. Without knowing that, or without understanding the students' and practitioners' capacity, usually it is not easy to communicate with the student and teacher. Usually when I teach, it's so important to understand each other, personality, what kind of person need what the capacity, so that I can teach, this person need this kind of teaching. Without knowing that, it is not easy to communicate. Meaning maybe, I hope not, but you will not receive the teachings that you really want from me today. But, there is a fundamental practice that is really good for everybody, no matter who you are. What we call it, bodhicitta, meaning a kind mind, heart of enlightenment. Maybe you are familiar with it, maybe not, I'm not sure. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it today. And within, Tibetan Buddhism, there are so many different kinds of practices. So therefore, teachers give different instructions. For example, myself, I have received so many profound instructions on meditations from my great masters in Tibet. And I can tell you this, the most profound of all the instructions that I received were those on how to meditate on bodhicitta. Because when I practice it, it gives me a great wisdom, and I can see the benefits of this practice almost right away. Usually, like when you practice, other things, you can't, get the results right away. But this practice is amazing. So therefore, also teachers say that usually, when we check our motivation, as a Buddhist practitioner, so important to check your motivation, whatever you do. When you check your motivation, when you practice meditation or whatever you do, when you investigate your motivation, as ordinary beings, it is almost impossible not to have thoughts and actions that are sort of inspired by selfish intentions. That is the reason why practicing bodhicitta is important. Teachers, it is like, like 100 different rivers that gather and flow under one bridge. So we may have many different kinds of meditation practices, but they're gathered under bodhicitta, meaning without bodhicitta, then your practice is usually not that great because the selfish intention. So therefore, all the practices that we do without bodhicitta definitely will be from a selfish mind. With selfish mind, there's no great enlightenment. Therefore, developing bodhicitta destroys our negative actions, especially the selfish mind. As you know, the selfish person doesn't care others. There's no love, no compassion. So therefore, fundamentally, the Buddhist teachings focus on how to destroy, how to, diminish the selfish mind. That's the bottom line. And now, generally speaking, a Buddhist student at least need at least 3 qualities in order to practice Buddha Dharma. So I will tell you this a little bit, and not in detail, but the first of the 3 quality is wisdom. As a Buddhist practitioner, wisdom is the number 1, so important. Wisdom, because wisdom makes your practice very clear and without any mistakes. So therefore, wisdom is so important. each and every moment when you practice, you should be very clear about your meditation so that you are on right path. And your practice will be very beneficial based on your knowledge, your wisdom. You see, when we talk about wisdom, there are three kinds of wisdoms. The wisdom of learning, the wisdom of contemplating, and the wisdom of meditating. Tupi Sherab, Sangpo Sherab, Gombe Sherab. Tupa means the wisdom of learning. In order to practice, first you have to understand the teachings. And then not only that, once you receive the teachings, you have to investigate the teachings, the meaning of the teaching, contemplating, wisdom of contemplating. Still not enough. You, through your wisdom, you contemplate your teachings, then you have to meditate. Put those teachings into your meditation. So this is what we call three wisdoms. You see, if you develop these three wisdoms, then you will not only have sort of intellectual understanding, but you will have some personal sort of experience from your practice because of the wisdom. So the wisdom is very, very important for Buddhist practitioner. Otherwise, whatever your practice is based on blind faith. And then second quality is, of course, bodhicitta. Buddha Shakyamuni suggested everyone should practice bodhicitta because we human beings have powerful mind, great sort of intellectual ability. But at the same time, this can bring many difficulties into our lives. So practicing bodhicitta and abandoning the selfish mind is the main idea and goal of Buddhist practice. Otherwise, as I said, we will not become enlightened, no matter how much we practice. When I say enlightenment, there are many different kinds of enlightenment. But what I'm saying is great enlightenment, like as the Buddha Shakyamuni himself. Without bodhicitta, no way to become like Buddha Shakyamuni himself. Because our efforts are based on selfishness. Therefore, all of the teachings of Buddha is dedicated to helping us to develop a kind mind, bodhicitta. Because if you have a kind mind, then you become a genuine sort of practitioner. If you have a kind mind, you are actually successful with your practice. Each one of us is capable of experiencing love and compassion, kindness. And if you have a kind mind, even your ordinary activities become great methods for the attainment of liberation. A kind mind or bodhicitta, Buddha Shakyamuni himself said that is your inner teacher. A kind mind is your inner lineage. A kind mind is your inner protection. And bodhicitta, a kind mind, is your inner liberation. Buddha Shakyamuni himself said that Rangwang Tamchit Devayan, meaning freedom is happiness. Jangwang Tamchit Dungarian, meaning being controlled by others is suffering. So when you think about this instruction, freedom is happiness. What is this freedom? This freedom is the genuine happiness of the mind. And that kind of happiness can only come from abandoning the selfish mind. And Buddha also said, being controlled by others is suffering. Here, other means not other people. Other means the negative emotions, especially selfish mind. Someone who controlled by selfish mind is suffering. Everything can be transformed by bodhicitta as it is the antidote to our selfish motivation. So practicing bodhicitta can help us to develop great love, great compassion, as well as great wisdom. Because when you think about bodhicitta, you have to understand the situation, the other situation, the world situation, so that you develop your wisdom. So when we have bodhicitta, when we have wisdom, we can have less attachment, less anger, and less ignorance. Because of wisdom, ignorance, wisdom destroys the ignorance. Okay? Love and compassion, these are two different things. But when we talk about bodhicitta, it's love, it's compassion, it's kind mind. So that can destroy attachment, anger. So these three afflictions, the root of our suffering. So therefore, bodhicitta is the best antidote and solution to these negative emotions. Second quality, right? And then third quality a student really needs is diligence. It is because attaining enlightenment and developing your capacity really sort of depends completely on your diligence. Means you have to meditate every single day. We say prayers, we say mantras. It's nice, it's good. Not help very much. You have to control your mind through your meditation. If you have no diligence, then you cannot develop your capacity. You cannot develop your kind mind. So therefore, it depends completely on your diligence. Therefore, a practitioner should not be satisfied with just doing a little bit sort of meditation. Every single day, meditate until you reach enlightenment. So therefore, it's so important. So you see, without these three qualities, wisdom, bodhicitta, diligence, there is no, I think, opportunity to attain great enlightenment. So please keep in mind these three qualities, no matter what, what kind of religion you practice, no matter what kind of person you are, you need this religion, wisdom, bodhicitta, religion, universal qualities. If you think, oh, these are not important, something wrong with you. I'm telling you. And now, I don't have much time, so I will give you some. So now you have the benefit of, if you practice bodhicitta, a kind mind, the benefit of this practice, you understand that a little bit. I mean, this bodhicitta, this topic is huge, huge. But, I give you a little bit like the benefit of this practice. So if you want to practice, bodhicitta, I can give you some instructions for how to practice bodhicitta, if you wish, if you want. I'm not telling you like you have to practice this, but if you want this practice, just I will, give you some, and then if you want, you can. If you don't want it, you can try something else. No problem. So think, about bodhicitta. It requires you to connect. In order to practice bodhicitta, let's say, it requires you to connect with yourself as well as others. So again, bodhicitta is about kindness, right? It's about wishing happiness to all living beings, all sentient beings, include animals. It is about being harmonious with each other, not harm each other, harmonious with each other. Especially bodhicitta is really important for a Buddhist group, practitioners, because people always get together and do practice together, right? So harmonious with each other is so important as a sangha, as a group. And bodhicitta practice is a practice for developing your kindness as well as practice for developing your compassion. So again, if you want to practice, this is what you do. Every day, when you wake up or whatever, before go to work or whatever you do, try to make a commitment. And just to relax your mind for a second. And then you should think in the sky in front of you. I'm telling you how to practice bodhicitta, right? So you can visualize, right there, pray to whichever enlightened being inspires you the most, the one you have a strong connection with. Not necessarily Buddha Shakyamuni, not necessarily whatever, whichever enlightened beings really you sort of inspires you the most and you have connection with, very strong connection with, okay? And then once you have that, then open your heart and ask his or her compassion and blessings so that you can develop your bodhicitta. With that kind of visualization of this enlightened being in front of you, you should make this commitment, okay? This is the most important. you would think and say, today, all my actions will be beneficial for everyone, including myself. For everyone. Usually when we say benefit for everyone, it's enough, right? For the Westerners like you, oh, how about myself? And Tibetan, we say, everyone. Okay, they understand. I'm included, right? Everyone. But here I have to make more clear, including, okay, beneficial for your actions or whatever you do for everyone, include yourself, myself, And I will try not to harm anyone physically, verbally, mentally. Okay? I will try to keep positive thoughts, kindness, compassion, love as much as possible. That is your commitment. That's what I do. So set those kinds of good thoughts for your for the day, and during the day it is important to be mindful of your actions, your thoughts, right? And when you notice there is negative thoughts and action arising in your mind, then try to think about bodhicitta. Try to think about kindness, which means you have to understand, why am I angry? What is this situation? You have to investigate through your wisdom so that you can control your mind, so that you become a very kind person. Your anger, you can destroy through that kind of meditation, So therefore, you have to, when you have a sort of notice that, the negative thoughts arise in your mind, you have to, in order to recognize that, you have to be mindful. I think you are very good with mindfulness, right? So mindful is during the day, it's so important. It goes with bodhicitta. Then try to think about bodhicitta, because bodhicitta is the only way to handle such a problem. And the most of the time, you see, bodhicitta practice, bodhicitta meditation. Bodhicitta practice is we call analytical meditation. Okay, we have two different kinds of meditations, right? One is rest meditation, one is analytical meditation. Analytical meditation means you have to investigate, think, what is this? What is that? You have to invest. Bodhicitta is usually think about analytical meditation with your situation, with others' situation, with your work situation. Everything you have to sort of be clear, no mistakes. That's why bodhicitta give you wisdom, and also it helps your mindfulness practice. So bodhicitta, most of the time, bodhicitta practice is analytical meditation, okay? Meaning you have to think about how to develop a gentle and sweet mind, a kind mind, and you have to think that, to have attitude, good attitude, and how to become a great person. That's all. Bodhicitta is how to become a great person. So this is what we call post-meditation of bodhicitta. Post-meditation means like while you're with your activities, walking, sitting, whatever, you still, you can practice. You can practice. Usually people, this is my meditation time. Don't, I need, it's be quiet, I don't, this is my meditation. And then you sit and then you realize, it's easy, right? And then during the day, you go to work, you see these things, this is so difficult, So you get angry, this person, something wrong, that is something wrong, this. So that's why teachers, Tibetan teachers, they always say, actually, post-meditation, the most important, more important than rest and meditation, Because when you rest, meditate, it's so easy, it's your mind is calm, the situation around you is so comfortable, nothing bothers you, right? So easy. But when you walk, during your activities, then it's really hard to meditate, That's why bodhicitta is so important. Post meditation bodhicitta, analytical meditation, it's really good for your situation in your daily life. So that's why I think this is everybody, no matter who you are, we need this kind of practice. That's analytical meditation, okay? You make a commitment every morning, and then during the day, be mindful, and then when you notice that your negative thoughts arise in your mind, then you think about kindness, kind mind, bodhicitta. That's we call analytical meditation or post meditation practice of bodhicitta. Now, the other one, if you want to sit, and then sit on cushion, and then if you want to practice bodhicitta, then this is how you do it. You should visualize again in enlightened being in front of you as an object of blessings. Okay, in Tibetan means blessings, as an object of blessing. So important. Someone who is there for your witness, your practice. And you should also remember your aspiration to help others and your sort of desire to develop your ability to genuinely care for others. That's your motivation. This kind of motivation is, no matter what, is so important. That's why teachers always say, whenever you start meditate, correcting your motivation. You can practice, you can listen teaching while you're angry, upset. That's why you have to correct your motivation. So this is your motivation. And then for the meditation, visualize whoever you want to think about. And that will be your object in front of you. So now this is different than the post-meditation practice of bodhicitta. So now you sit down, and then you have whatever 3 jewels, whatever enlightened beings in front of you. And then in order to practice bodhicitta, you can think about somebody that you know is suffering, difficult situation. You can think about the world. We have so many problems. So you can think about that, whatever you want to think about. So that would be your object, okay? And then once you have that, you send your great compassion to that being in front of you or whatever when you breathe out. Okay, this bodhicitta practice is kind of like a practice with your breathing, So when you breathe out, you send your great kind mind, whatever you call it, compassion, whatever, send and wish, the world, peace, whatever you want. And you should just not just it's really from your heart, you have to give and, so that you can, this is how you take care of others mentally, Maybe you don't have much capacity to help others physically, but mentally you can connect with all sentient beings who are suffering every single day, so that you become a great person, so that mentally you are connecting, mentally you are helping others. So therefore, as well as when you do this, it develops your compassion. Actually, your compassion is good for you. And then, so you send a compassion when you breathe out, right? Breathe out. And then you rest there for as long as you want while practicing one point concentration. I think you're really good with this because I think you always do this, right? Concentration. Just to relax, breathe out, send your compassion, no hurry. Then just to relax, meditate right there for as long as your mind focus. Once your thoughts arise again, then you breathe in, right? Breathe in and then breathe in, this time a little bit different. When you breathe in, great love, happiness, whatever you want, bring that for yourself. Love yourself, trust yourself. I can do this. I have this, recognize your precious human life. This is very important. Most people don't recognize precious human life, so that people always suffering. They don't enjoy their life. Means they don't really recognize this is how important. This is a precious time. Today I have this amazing time. It's impermanent. Today is this amazing time, but it's gone. No longer this. So this is so important for me, this time, this life is so important. You have to recognize that sort of your situation. This is a little bit different, right? When you breathe out, you send love and compassion to others and make sure that you understand others' situation so that you will not harm others anymore. When you breathe in, understand your situation, your life, recognize your time, precious. Oh, I have this precious opportunity to practice Buddha Dharma. This is so important. You have to recognize that. At the same time, once you recognize this situation, that's not enough. Make a commitment. Make a commitment. Oh, I have this amazing, precious human life and time, all of this. So I will not harm others. And I will not harm myself. I will take care of others. I will take care of myself. And then again, rest there. Rest there. Your mind rests there as long as you can. And focus on your inner peace with gentle concentration. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. And while you're doing that, just to be aware of this inner peace. When you this is like alternate, like, analytical meditation and rest in meditation, right? So when you think about other situation, when you think about your situation, then between that, you just relax. Sometimes think too much makes lots of, thoughts, so you have to relax, You need to balance, really. Not too much think, not too, just only relaxed meditation is maybe not good. So therefore, just to be aware of your inner peace and continue to meditate on this sort of alternately, okay? You see, this is how you meditate bodhicitta. Do you understand? This is very, very simple meditation. Very simple meditation. There is no like this dekas, dakinis, deities, all of this. You don't have that kind of visualization. You don't need that kind of visualization, But you need a protection, refuge, like you object, your Buddha Dharma, whatever, that's enlightened being in front of you, always with you. And then in front of that, then every single day, commitment. Make a commitment not to harm others. Make sure that you would develop your kindness. I always tell my student, I don't care how much your mind like stable or relaxed and, like calm, peace. I don't care that. As long as you have a selfish mind, that's the problem, As long as you have, this bodhicitta, you don't have the bodhicitta, a kind mind, that's the problem. Then no matter your mind is just 100% relaxed, what is the point? You you harm others. You always, your activities, we call it like this, outwardly concerns. You are thinking about becoming famous, become, like a powerful person. All of these things come from selfish mind. So in order to success, achieve that goal, you harm others, you don't care others, then what is the point? You have a relaxed mind. We call it shamatha meditation. Shamatha meditation makes your mind relax. It's nice, but that's not the point. Buddhist practice, So therefore, this is what I said. This is very simple meditation, but it's at the same time, it's very, very profound, okay? It's very profound. So that's all. No matter how long or you meditate, try to meditate with mindfulness, okay? Of course, it naturally happens that when you meditate, your thoughts arise. But when you see that happening, rather than following them, immediately bring the mind back. That's why I said, like between the practice bodhicitta, you have to rest your mind, one point concentration. That's why, this is very important. And if you practice bodhicitta like that, okay, you might find that after, your meditation, you really feel like loving and kindness and sort of compassion. You feel that because of this practice. This practice really makes your heart open more and more and more and more. Okay? So the point is, in order to practice bodhicitta, you really need to try to think about others are equal to yourself. What is different? Me and you? What is different? I want happiness. So do you, right? I don't want suffering. That's this equanimity meditation. Equal, you have to, actually you can see that when you sit and meditate on bodhicitta. You can see that, oh, this is so important. You can see that the problem is, as I said, the temporary selfish mind blocks your wisdom, your bodhicitta in many ways. Selfish is really our enemy, so bad. Especially as a Buddhist practitioner, selfish mind is so bad. So therefore, you can see that, but this difficult. This selfish mind really needs to be removed, and in order to develop a kind mind. So therefore, Shakyamuni Buddha himself recognized bodhicitta is the best antidote to the selfish mind. Because once the selfish mind is removed through practicing bodhicitta, then you are no longer an ordinary person. Okay? What we call that kind of person a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, which means someone who has a positive thought, kind mind, someone, a courageous mind, someone who is a great being. Bodhisattva is a great being, someone who has a great compassion, means without selfishness, okay? So that's it. When you practice bodhicitta and you develop this capacity, you become no longer an ordinary person. You become a bodhisattva, so means a great being. So we have to practice how to become a great being, how to become a great person, a loving person. That's so important, especially this, 21st century. We need good people who always, we don't need who always focus on himself or herself, ignore others. That's why they destroy the world. We have lots of problems because of that. So we need great people, okay? So having said that, perfect time. I have to finish 10:22, right? So therefore, it's perfect time. I haven't. So this is end of my teaching. So thank you very, very much. Give me this opportunity, and very nice to see all of you. I wish you are happy and healthy, and continue to practice Buddha Dharma and have a great life. Okay? Thank you very much.